I would much rather all this energy in the room was going into us piling over there and saying, how can we develop the brew house into something fantastic, you know? But we might yet get to that point, so I hope so anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Catherine. Anybody else? Evelyn, where? Sorry, I was going this way. Here, right.
I just want to ask one question.
Sorry, what's your name?
Larry Doyle.
Larry, okay.
The council made the decision today. We have some of the councillors here, and we have David here defending it. Where are the other councillors that voted for it?
You'd have to ask them.
And remember that when it comes to voting. That's all.
I'll make two quick points here. Firstly, I'm not here to defend the councillor. I'm equally, just to point out, I'm not the councillor who wrote that letter as well.
No, he isn't. I should have pointed that out. He is not. He is not.
That narrows it down a bit.
God, you walked me into that one.
The second point, which is an important point just for the meeting to understand, there was no land, no sites, no property sold today into that partnership.
Not yet.
No, admittedly, it's coming down the track, and I accept it's coming down the track. But there was no disposal of property today. What was agreed today is simply to allow the executive of Kilkenny County Council to formally set up that partnership. That's what was agreed today.
You haven't seen the agreement, though. You don't know what's in it.
No,
Sorry.
There is a very strict protocol in relation to how a council can dispose of assets, including notification periods, etc. And a section, I think it's 183, notice has to be served. And none of that has been done. So there was no disposal today. Just to be clear from everybody's point of view.
No. Sorry, just a minute now. Remy, if you just give me a sec. Was there somebody, it's just somebody who hasn't spoken before. Will you? No, that one doesn't work. So we'll take this one.
No, I suppose the point I wanted to make was that people took part in the public consultation process, and it was brilliant to have it, and lots of people had brilliant ideas, as Malcolm said. And after we took part in the public consultation, a document was issued that was supposed to represent what had come from the public consultation. But from everybody that I've spoken to, that document didn't actually reflect any of, or it engaged with some of what was said, but in the most fundamental points weren't taken into account. And importantly, very important words of the draft master plan that we had all had our public consultation on were changed, and the most important being that the line that said that environmental excellence would be upheld, that the development would integrate with the existing cityscape, and that the site would be operated by the county council, and I'm not sure of the exact wording, but basically for the benefit of the people. And when the document came out after the public consultation, those three sentences were removed and were replaced with an absence of anything to do with the environment, with an absence of anything to do with it integrating with the existing city, and with this funding mechanism thing that hadn't been discussed. So in my mind, if you open up a conversation with a set of rules, you don't then just change the document after we've all discussed the rules.
Okay, we're getting to 9:20. We need to wind up shortly. So I've 2 hands, and I'll take 3 hands, 4 hands. So I'll take those 4 and we leave it at that. So Ms. Duggan first.
I just have a question. Kilkenny is a city that's built on heritage and it's built on tourists. Like I think one lady mentioned Fieldcrest before, when a big industrial company came and within 6 months had gone. It's a question for David, because David, you have your own business, you know what it's like. The worry is for me that if you do something very commercial in the brewery site, Like, how does that sustain employment in the rest of Kilkenny when there's already over 100 units closed in Kilkenny City? Kilkenny is an amazing city that needs to be kept, and our tourists need to be looked after. If you pull the heart of our city to the brewery site, or to the Mart site, or even to McDonagh, you lose our city.
Yeah.
Okay, Adi.
Honestly, I think that if voting actually worked, it would be made illegal at this stage. I thought you gave a very good speech, Margaret. You were very clear. But what it has shown us is that there is no democracy here. We have the Local Reform Act from Kilhogan, as this lady said previously. But we all see that council is not in our hands. It's in the hands of the Fine Gael and the Fianna Fáiles. It's in the party. Now, it's rigged. How they are elected and how it all comes, we can see this, right? But the question is, so I do think if you're going to go through the council, you're not going to get anywhere with this. I think we've seen that. You've 3 or 4 people here on our side. I think that if every single person here makes a commitment, and they make a commitment to the neighbours beside them to stop this, it will happen. And if that means standing out in the rain, handing out leaflets, if that means protesting, if that means standing up for this city, that is exactly what needs to be done. And I think we need to learn. I wasn't involved in the Casbridge, but I did watch it closely. We need to learn from that. They beat us on that, and they did. They had the media.
I wouldn't say
Oh,
that.
no,
We
no,
wouldn't be standing here, Adi, if we were dead.
But it's there. It's there and it should be there. You know what I mean? It's a great campaign, it was by all accounts, but it's there and it shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So what we need to do is learn from that. We need to organise. We need to dedicate ourselves to this because it is important. Now I live in Carlow. But I'm seeing, we had Tesco built up there and it took this life and soul out of Carlow town. But what we're seeing is that the exact same thing is going to happen to Kilkenny. The image of Kilkenny is being slashed by bureaucracy, by commercialisation. You're at a moment now, you're organised, you're collected and you're dedicated. You need to garner this energy and this power and move forward with it.
Okay, thank you. KB is next.
I went to the meeting today in the council chambers and I came out of it and I went home and I just said, that's it for me. I'm not fighting anymore because you're fighting against the establishment. And I forced myself to come down tonight and I'm delighted because after listening to Margaret and her inspirational a talk, I'm ready to go again. There's just a few little points. Get the tent air out. Michael said the gazebo that they cut me out of, we need a new one. There's just a couple
Where's
of
Michael
points.
Conway? Oh, he's here.
Michael, sorry, your gazebo was ripped. There's just a couple of points. One scary thing for me today at that council meeting was when they talked about the environmental impact they were discussing that, and one thing that I came away with that scared me, and it was the fact that they talked about I think it was, I can't remember how much money that's put to one side in case there is some sort of environmental whatever it is, okay. What was it? 750, yeah. And the thing that scared me was, and Margaret, you touched on it earlier on, that amount of money, like you may as well go down and buy a bag of sweets, you know, in the scheme of things. But what scared me, and is still, I would be still scared about this, is the fact that they said, and I can't remember the terminology, but they have a 2 metre, is it plane or whatever they call it, there's 2 metres of cover over the brewery side, right? Now, what's it called? Slab, yeah. So you have 2 metres that covers the whole, that covers the brewery side. Now, 2 metres is not an awful lot to go down in the ground. And if anything is breached, if anything happens below 2 metres, this is why they were talking about they're not going to build, everything will be on stilts because they can't go down. Because if they go down and breach something, 750,000 is not going to clean up, it won't clean out a thimble if it's full of toxic waste. So that's what scared me today, and I would just like to know what other dangers lie beneath that 2 metres. Because I spoke personally to a man who works for a company in Cork that was the people who came along to clear out the brewery site, and they were doing it continuously over the years. and we were sitting on the bridge below, and this man came along, and he told me, he was after coming out through the where we were protesting, he came out through the security gates, and he said that he brought out, I don't know, many tons of toxic waste, and it was lying there in a tankard that we could see when we were there every day. We didn't know what was in it. It was lying there for about 2 months on the brewery site. And he told me, now it's he said, she said, and we said, he told me that if we were to see the amount of exposure that was in there, the pipes that were exposed and the toxic waste that were in there, that it would frighten the little daylights out of anyone. There's another point that I wanted to make. They talked today, they got in all the terminology today. Somebody said that we went down and we, 2 weekends of consultation. I think a lot of us here in the room, we were all together on it, up in the Ormond Hotel. And we all came together. We had what I would call an expert, a person who was in the know at every table. So we were able to find out little facts, facts and figures. So we all came up with these amazing ideas. And it was, what came out of those consultations was just, it would have been so good for Kilkenny. But no, they're gone in the trash bin now, because what we say, what we say doesn't count.
Yeah.
Okay? They threw in all the terminology today at the meeting. Oh, the river walk, they're going to open up the river. Oh, the housing. Oh, yes, and I heard somebody saying, oh, we'll put in a hoop. We'll put in the the part I'm going to have for teenagers. Oh, we'll put in a hoop. Yeah? Basketball, yeah, a hoop. We'll put in a hoop. And there was all these things were thrown in, right? And we're going to have a teenage area.
Under the bridge.
I mean, what is a teenage area? Like, they're going to put in a skate park under the bridge. They're going to put in housing where the road is. And there's another point I just want to make. They also threw in the fact that, oh, we're going to put in the loop. The loop is going to be fantastic. When you come down from the castle, you can loop in through the brewery site and come out the other side, and you're going to see the turret, you're going to see the well, and you're going to see the beautiful yeah, that other thing, yeah. And that was going to be fantastic. Now, one more point I'd like to make. I'd love to stay up here all night, but I can't.
No, I won't let you. You're on the way out, Carl.
The other point I would like to make is that we sat on the bridge when they were starting to build the bridge, right? And we were called it's not an easy thing to do, to go out and protest, I guarantee you. We were called every single name in the book. Every single name in the book. The abuse that we took was unbelievable. But we stayed there and we saw it through. And contrary to what you said down there, we won. We won that case because they had to do the other side of the bridge differently. Because they did the right-hand side of the bridge, they broke their own rules. And we won that case. So we did win.
That's it, come on, girl,
no,
here.
I just want to ask this question.
Quick.
Because it's something we haven't
Yeah,
touched
come on then.
The bridge is